time, I'm going to bring up, of course, LVICC President Rita Vaswani and our chair, Harry Singh. Where's Harry? There he is. So let's get moving, everybody. Give him a big hand.
I'm going to introduce our board members here. Of course, this is our fearless leader, Harry Singh, who's our chairman. Binay Hari, please stand up, is our secretary, and attorney Binay Hari is also an immigration attorney. Garima is our news editor here. Adnan, where are you? Is our IT person. Am I missing somebody here?
Moi.
Because
Dr. Vikas Sayal, please stand up. He's vice president of the medical group under our banner. Meena Dadlani and Ashok Dadlani, our new community relations. Am I missing?
Rita.
Gagan Verma, where are you?
Oh.
He's eating chicken.
He's eating his food, okay. Those are, so please.
There's only one Gagan here.
That's only. So this is our group that's here tonight. We didn't invite as many because otherwise we'll fill up the room. So thank you so much for being here. And then I would like, Suman Terrace, of course, is our public relations media. You don't know much about her, but for 28 years, she was the anchor lady, the first Indian American to be an anchor for Channel 3. Please give her a big hand too.
Oh, Rita, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, Harry, it's your turn.
Very good evening. Oops. Hello?
Okay, what is this?
I take this privilege to welcome you all this evening, and I've got a wonderful friends here.
Louder, Harry.
And the visiting delegates. It's not working. On the behalf of Las Vegas India Chamber of Commerce, I welcome Mr. Santosh Sarangi, the Secretary of the Department of Commerce of India and Director General of Foreign Trade. I have Mr. Rakesh Adlakha, Deputy Consul General from San Francisco Consulate General Office, and Ms. Ashwani Lal, Joint Secretary of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Entrepreneurs, and another gentleman who's along with them is here with us. And I also welcome Mr. Tom Burns, the Executive Director of Governor's Office of Economic Development. Unfortunately, Chris is not able to join us. So we have our esteemed guest, Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony, and his Chief of Staff, Rudy. And I've got very distinguished friend of ours is Jim Jimerson and his beautiful wife. We have a Terry Schroeder. I've got a lot many. If I keep listing it out, it's going to be ending in a different way. I'm just going to take on a little bit time of you because I born and raised in India, so it's still very much connected to me. About 2 weeks ago, I just landed back home from India travel along with my Executive Director, Donna Miller. So we had explored our healthcare initiatives in India. So I can see it as such a high potential of working, not only because I'm an Indian by birth, but also looking for a lot of potential of collaborations and initiatives which we can do it all together, working with our government as well as our local diaspora. Today, this delegation who's visiting us is bringing in the Indian textile to the global framework where the people are visiting and checking on it. I'll just touch upon a small informations many of you know, many of you may not be. As on today, India and the United States enjoys a comprehensive global strategic partnership. And it has been happening for quite some time, and now it has been grown to different bounds altogether. The major impact which is there is not only democratic values, but there is a lot of range of issues which is very common. Like if we talk about people-to-people contact, if we see United States is already having almost 4.2 million Indians are living in this country. We are also, some part of our diaspora is involved in an active politics, which is reached to as a Congress people representing in Washington D.C. too. So that's an achievement which we see for the decades which is happening here, and it is a proud moment to say that our local friends and the friends who has adopted us, being as an aliens to come from third world and being a part of this mainstream. This is our achievement, what we can say it as a one family, which is, you can see it today sitting here together. We are looking at it, when I was having a couple of chances to talk to Mr. Tom Burns, we are looking at it a very intensive outlook to see a lot of collaborations with India. India is a country which is full of tourism, which has got a lot of other avenues, which is as the Mr. Secretary, while attending a meeting at the GOED's office, we were having a certain impactable industries which we are looking forward to collaborate with our beautiful state of Nevada. Avenues are a lot. Opportunities are tremendous. We got to move forward with the one step each. So I welcome you all once again to be with us today to welcome our beautiful and wonderful delegation who is visiting us to our state. And I thank you very much for attending me today.
Deputy?
And God bless you all.
Thank you. I don't need that, do I? We're okay. That's the broadcaster's voice. Okay, Harry already mentioned him. I do want to bring him up now. Deputy Consulate General of India from out of the San Francisco office, Rakesh Adlaka.
Very good evening to you all. I'm really pleased to be with you all today. At the outset, I would like to thank the Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony for the wonderful meeting and for hosting us today. We had very good discussions with you, and of course with Mr. Thomas Burns, the Executive Director of Governor's Office of Economic Development. We hope to carry on these discussions in the coming weeks and months for strengthening relations between India and Nevada. I also wish to thank the Las Vegas India Chamber of Commerce for providing invaluable support to the visit of Indian delegation. I particularly thank Mr. Harry, the chairman, and Ms. Rita, president of LVICC, for being so helpful, and of course all the team of VLICC. I would like to take this opportunity to briefly touch upon the India-US relations as a whole before going into the India-Nevada relations. As you know, and as Mr. Harry mentioned, India and US have comprehensive global and strategic partnership, which is actually anchored in a new level of trust and mutual understanding. The warm bonds of friendship link our countries together. I must also add that during the recent state visit of our Prime Minister to USA in June 2023, both sides reaffirmed a vision of India and the United States as among the closest partners in the world. This is a partnership of democracies looking into the 21st century with hope, ambition, and confidence. We have strong partnership in defense and strategic affairs, technology cooperation including in semiconductors, space, energy, education, health, and a lot more. The kind of trust the two countries have in each other is well expressed when the two sides have decided to resolve 6 outstanding WTO disputes between the two countries through mutually agreed solutions. The India-US Trade and Investment Partnership is an engine for global growth, with bilateral trade exceeding $191 billion in 2022, nearly doubling from 2014. Still, the ambitions are to reach ever greater heights, and both sides have committed themselves to this endeavor now and into the future. Therefore, the visit of Mr. Santosh Sarangi, who is responsible for trade policy of India, is a step in the direction of further strengthening the trade and economic relations between the two countries, and all of us can make our small contributions in this regard. The state of Nevada and India have strong trade and economic relations with bilateral trade nearing 1.5 billion US dollars. The state of Nevada offers great opportunities for collaborations in renewable energy, mining, agriculture, and of course tourism. We hope that in the times to come, the relations between India and Nevada will gain further strength. Before concluding, I would like to say a few words about the delegation which is visiting from India. The delegation is led by Mr. Santosh Sarangi, as we all know. Mr. Sarangi is Additional Secretary in the Department of Commerce and is the Director General of Foreign Trade. He is responsible for India's foreign trade policy. You can imagine how important is his role. We also have Ms. Ashwini Lal with us in the delegation. She is Joint Secretary and Additional Development Commissioner in the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. She is responsible for formulating, coordinating, implementing and monitoring different policies and programs for the promotion and development of MSMEs in the country. We also have the pleasure of having Dr. A. Saktivel, who is President of the Federation of Indian Exporters Organization, FIEO. FIEO is the apex body of the government recognized export promotion councils, commodity boards and export development authorities in India. So we'll hear more about India-US relations and how we can strengthen it from Mr. Santosh Sarangi. So with these words, I thank you all and it's really wonderful to be with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rakeshji. Looks like you've heard all about Mr. Sarangi. You've heard his introduction, so I don't need to say more. So please join us up here on stage, and we'd love to hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. At the outset, let me thank the Chamber for organizing such a warm reception. It has been a great feeling seeing the enthusiasm, the camaraderie, and this brings a lot of good feeling about how the Indian diaspora has been acting as one of the best ambassadors outside India. My counterparts in Nevada, the Lieutenant Governor, the Head of Economic Development Council, the OSD, it's a great pleasure meeting all of you, discussing the potential for India-US collaboration. Before I proceed further in India and US, I will start with the disclaimer. Contrary to what Mr. Harry introduced me as, I am not the Secretary of Commerce. I have a boss who is the Secretary of Commerce. I need to put in a little more gray hair before I become Secretary of Commerce. But nevertheless, we have 3 to 4 additional secretaries. Some of them work in the department as additional secretaries. We have another vertical called Directorate General of Foreign Trade, which is responsible for, as Mr. Adlaka pointed out, for laying down the contours of India's foreign trade policy. So the different kinds of schemes which facilitate trade, the different kinds of regulations which are required for India's exports and imports, those are handled by the DGFT. Coming back to India and US, US as a country, if we leave aside EU as a group, then US as a country is our largest trading partner. we export about $80 billion worth of goods to US, and US exports about 39 billion worth of goods to India. And if you take into account the services export and import, that would easily cross maybe 200 billion. Somebody read out a figure of 191 billion. That seems like a little dated. I think with services data put in, it would easily exceed 200 billion of bilateral trade. No, for Nevada they said 1.5 billion, but 191 billion was the figure which Mr. Adlaka pointed out. Nevertheless, the potential is actually the actual trade is much below its potential. If we look at US, the trade complementarity between India and US is huge. If you look at the profile of US imports, there are many areas in which India can increase its exports. Similarly, India has requirement in many other fields, including in energy products as well as technology, embedded products where technology is embedded. There is a huge potential. So I think over a period of time with concerted effort, the trade can go up multiple times. We have two forums in which the trade issues are discussed between India and US. One is the Trade Policy Forum, where our Department of Commerce in India and the USTR have an institutional mechanism through which they try to resolve all trade related issues. As Mr. Adlaka pointed out, recently with USTR we resolved 6 trade disputes outside the WTO forum, which only goes on to establish the kind of strong partnership that both of us believe in. We also have India-US strategic partnership, where Indian DOC and the US DOC have an institutional mechanism to further the interest of trade, industry and investment. So these are issues which are discussed in that forum, and they have regular meeting at a ministerial level. Coming back to Nevada, I must compliment the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor's team for the wonderful city which has been created and the way you have maintained this. I am sure the people from the trade and business have equally contributed to ensure that this city sells what it promises and actually delivers. So the kind of vibrancy that I have seen in this city, the kind of spick and span maintenance of this city, and the freedom with which people move in this city at the dead of night goes on to show the kind of effort each one of you is putting in. And I'm sure in the days to come, not only in tourism but in many other areas, including critical technology and mining, will be areas in which India and Indian states and Nevada will have strong partnership. I look forward to the visit of Lieutenant Governor and the other members of the team to India at some point of time, where we'll explore more opportunities of not only trade and business but also bilateral investment. There are potential investors in India who would be happy to explore opportunities here, and I'm sure given the kind of strong tourism background which you have, people will also be interested in investing in tourism in India. Tourism, as all of you know, has huge potential. There are a lot of Indians who would be able to tell you the diverse tourism potential which India has, starting from Kerala, which has Ayurveda and the coastline and the hill stations and the tiger reserves and elephant sanctuary, to up in the Himalayas where you can do trekking and be witness to breathtaking beauties of the Himalayas. The diversity which India offers is amazing. So tourism is a potential area in which we can explore opportunities. And I believe this is the most opportune time for Americans to look at India. Many of my Indian friends know that India is a fast growing economy since the last 10 to 12 years. We are growing at 7 to 8% on an average, and our current GDP is about 3.7 trillion. We are the 5th largest economy today, and there are predictions that in another 2 to 3 years we will become the 3rd largest economy in the world. The IMF has projected the global growth rate at about 2.9% in 23. We are estimated to grow at about 7%. Next year, 24, IMF projection projects about 3.1% global growth rate, and India is projected to grow at about 6.8%. So we are virtually growing at double or more than that of the IMF projections, and that should hold us well to reach about 7.5 to 8 trillion economy size by 2030. And in 2047, we are going to complete 100 years of our independence from the British rule. And by that time, we estimate our economy to grow to a size of 30 trillion. And this is the time at which the entrepreneurial spirit is going to be unleashed in India. If you look at our startups working on drone and drone-based technologies, if you look at our startups who are investing in artificial intelligence and doing a variety of innovation, if you look at our startups who are investing in digital public infrastructure like unified payment mechanism, you will see that India has both the will as well as the demographic dividend to achieve and fulfill this aspiration of 1.4 billion Indians to become the top 3 economies in the world. So this is the most opportune time for India and US to collaborate further, and I would welcome the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor and his team to look at India and explore India and find out ways of mutual collaboration where both of us prosper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sarangi. Now we do want to bring up Tom Burns. Where is Tom? Oh, there he is. Of course, he's the Executive Director of GOED, which is the Governor's Office of Economic Development.
Well, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here in front of you. I want to thank you and your distinguished colleagues for stopping by our office today. It was truly an honor to meet with you and learn so much about the Indian culture and the economy and their opportunities for collaboration in the future. You know, in Nevada, we're looking really forward to being the center of a new economy as it relates to energy and the renewable energy alternatives to petroleum that are available to us now. So ideas around lithium and hydrogen and other opportunities for us to perfect those technologies as we go forward. As you may know, Nevada is the only state in the union that has the ability to take lithium from cradle to grave and actually back out of the grave. So we mine lithium, we can process lithium, we can put lithium into a battery. In Northern Nevada, we can make a Tesla that runs, right? So actually the outside of, or the guts of the Tesla and the frame of the Tesla are manufactured in Northern Nevada. You can drive that, and when that battery is done, you can take it back to Redwood Materials in Northern Nevada where they can reprocess that lithium and put it back into the environment. And so we're on the leading edge of that kind of economy here in the United States. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, as we discussed earlier, for us to share technology, especially in the processing area, about how we can share that technology and move forward. So I look forward to working with you in the future. You have been, I hope your folks at Magic found this to be a prosperous trip. 137 companies from India spent time here at the Magic Convention, the Linen Show, and I hope that was a very prosperous day for all of your folks. We're honored that you spent the time with us. I'm going to let the Lieutenant Governor tee off the rest of our presentation on Nevada. I have a personal event I need to attend to, but I am grateful again for the attention that you showed our state today. Hope you had a great time in Nevada, and we look forward to seeing you again. Take care.
Well, we've talked about our Lieutenant Governor, and one of the things that falls in the Lieutenant Governor's office is travel and tourism. So this is just right up Stavros Anthony's alley and everything else. So come on up, Stavros.
Well, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Stavros Anthony. I'm honored to be your Nevada Lieutenant Governor, or a better way to say it is Lieutenant Governor. Actually, I like that a little better. But I'm actually honored to be here tonight. I want to thank Rita and Harry for putting this event together. Thank you very much for doing this. And the MIT for providing all the food. Thank you very much. This is how we get to know each other, how we get to know our cultures is through food. We get to share our experiences. In fact, a shameless plug.
Yep.
Next month is the Greek Food Festival. So come on out to the Greek church. We'll have some great food. Sue and I will be in the lamb chop booth.
Yes.
I'll be flipping lamb chops. She'll be taking your money.
Art will be,
It's a
Art
great
will be
team.
at the bar.
Art's going to be there. Art
the
will be
bar.
at the bar. So we'd be glad to share the Greek culture with you. But again, I'm glad to see all of you here. I want to welcome our Indian delegation, Director Sarangi. Thank you for coming out to Las Vegas. Thank you for the kind words about Las Vegas. I very much appreciate that. We work really hard to make sure that Las Vegas is a great place to visit. So as Lieutenant Governor, I have quite a few responsibilities, but two of them involve tonight. One is a board member for the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Tom Burns is the executive director, and I sit on the board with the governor, and we approve all the abatements and try to get companies to come here to Nevada. And the non-gaming economy in the state of Nevada is absolutely exploding. People are coming from all over the world, all over the country to come to Nevada because of our economic environment. The tax base that we have, the abatement process that you can go to save money. This is a great place to open up a business, and we're talking about that. So Director Sarangi and I have been talking about economic development with Nevada and India and exploring a partnership, and we're going to do that. We had our first conversation tonight, and we're going to continue that. Obviously, our biggest economy in Nevada is gaming and tourism, and that's the other responsibility I have. I'm the chairman of the Nevada Tourism Commission, so that's I'm kind of I don't want to say the face of tourism because that wouldn't help out, but I'm the main guy when it comes to tourism, and that's something else that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about is the great tourism opportunities for people from Nevada to go to India and explore the country of India, and having people from India come to Nevada and explore Nevada. And you know, when people think of Nevada, they don't even say Nevada, they say Las Vegas. That's what people think of. But we're a lot more than gaming today. We're a lot more than just gambling. We're entertainment, we're dining, we're shopping, we're Red Rock, we're Great Basin National Park, we're cowboy country up in Ely, we're Lake Tahoe. There are some absolutely wonderful places to visit in Nevada. Most people think of the Grand Canyon and Zion, but they're in different states, so I never bring them up. I only bring up stuff in Nevada. So we want people to explore not just Las Vegas and gaming and the other parts of Las Vegas, but everything that Nevada has when it comes to tourism. So this has been a great opportunity for me to spend time with you and your deputy and the general counsel from San Francisco to build these partnerships where we can share economic development and tourism between 2.5 million people and 1.4 billion people. So we're probably going to be on the better end of that. But it's a great partnership, and I'm looking forward to coming out to India and spending some time and learning about India and how we can continue this partnership. So thank you very much for having me. I have 3 presents here from Las Vegas. I will give these to the director and the deputy director and general counsel when we're done, and we'll probably take some pictures. So thank you very much.
We're done? Okay. Learned during this smaller discussion is the way how to market Las Vegas to the folks in India. It's totally different of how you market Las Vegas in general. They market it, as we talked about, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? We're talking about the sinister Sin City. But that's not the way to do it for India, right? So that's something else that Stavros is going to explore, which would be great, and how they market Las Vegas to Indians in India. Oh, next up is our immigration attorney and the secretary of LVICC. You met her earlier, Bindi Parekh.
And on behalf of LVICC and also Mint, I'd like to welcome all of our esteemed guests, the Indian delegation from the ministry, from the consulate of India, and all of our Nevada officials from the Lieutenant Governor's office, from GOED. Welcome and thank you for being here today. All of the previous speakers spoke about the bilateral trade between India and the US, and definitely we've seen a manifold growth in trade between India and the US. Unfortunately, immigration hasn't caught up with that. So the biggest problem, or at least one of the big problems that a business from India faces is, if they want to do business in the US, how do they come to the US? How do they bring their employees to the US? I'm going to talk about a couple of things that work. Let's not dwell on the negative. Immigration will continue to do immigration stuff. Let's talk about things that work. So we have two mechanisms that we usually deploy to bring Indian businesses to the US. The first one is the L1A visa. Now, the L1A visa is if you have a business abroad, if you have a business specifically in India, and you want to transfer yourself to the US to open a new business, how do you do that? So there is a mechanism whereby you can transfer yourself as an executive of the company, and you can also bring in employees that work for you in India. As long as your employees or you have been on the payroll of your Indian company for 1 year in the last 3 years, you can come here as a manager or an executive and open a new business in the US. Now, the good thing is that the new business in the US doesn't have to do the same thing that it does in India. It can be a completely new business. So it's mostly for medium to bigger businesses. But what about a small businessman in India who wants to come to the US, who wants to educate his kids in the US, who wants to make the US his home? We have the EB-5 or the green card by investment. So the green card is available to any person from India or from any part of the world, as long as you invest a certain amount of money in the US and you create employment in the US. Now, the good thing about this green card is that you can invest $800,000 in the US as long as you're investing in a TEA. A TEA is a targeted employment area, areas that are experiencing high unemployment. We have a lot of those in Nevada, making it an ideal TEA location. Put in $800,000 in a business in Nevada, create 10 full-time jobs, just 10 full-time jobs for qualified US workers, and you have your green card, your family can come in, kids can study in the US. It's a really, really effective mechanism. Now, up until last year, it was taking a long time to get this green card. There's a new provision where you can come to the US, say you come to the US on a visitor's visa. You see the opportunity in a state like Nevada. You put in the money here. You can actually stay here. After 90 days, you apply for your green card. You can stay here while your green card is getting processed. So that's the new development, and it's amazing. Now, what if the money that you invest is not in a TEA? It's in an urban area. Say you're investing in an area that does not have high unemployment, or it's not in a rural area. Then you invest $1,050,000. Same rules. You can come in, open your business, put the money, create the employment, and you can stay here with your family. So these are the two ways in which Indian businesses can come to the US, continue their operations, or establish new operations, or come in as a businessman, come with your family, invest here, stay back, and enjoy the US. There's a lot of new developments or upcoming bills in Congress to do with immigration, and Mr. Sarangi and I had a little conversation about that earlier, and hopefully some of them come to fruition because we have millions of employees in high technology jobs, doctors, engineers. We need to keep these people in the US, and hopefully our governments can work a way out to bring them here and keep them here. Thank you.
I guess that's it, everybody. That's the end of our program. Rita, did you want to say some closing words? Who wants to? Who wants it? Some honorees and gifts and stuff. I guess Stavros, Lieutenant Governor, and Sarangi, I guess we're having some presentations over here. And just to describe a little bit, I'm not sure about the total history. I don't know if Garima can say it a little bit better, but anytime there's some sort of, that's a kind of a gift when you present the shawl to someone. Here, Garima, you want to explain that?
Yeah, so this is a great honor to have a scarf around your neck. And it is, I see that it's Pashmina. It's very well embroidered, and it's coming from like generation and generation to create this wool fabric. And it's a great honor to have around whenever there's a special occasion.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a gift. Is this on? Yeah, that is a gift that is given. And the presentation of a shawl is made. Let me see some of our, Chris Parik, of course, Chris and Bindi Parik, the owners of Mint. We've got Sanjeev Goyal, CEO of Droisis, was here. Sanjeev, there he is. Hey, Sanjeev. We also have, Jim Jimerson and Carol Jimerson are with us here. Of course, our Mary Beth Seawalt, president of the Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce. Mary Beth, did you step out? Okay. And we have, my husband, Art Manteris. Rita put that on the list. He's a preeminent gaming executive, sports gaming executive in Nevada. Judge Jessica Goody and Judge Amy Wilson. Right there. And Deepa Bharatkar, CPA of Southwest Gas Corporation.
Jerry Schroeder, and I'm Senior District Representative for Congresswoman Susie Lee. And I'm very happy to be here. I know Harry had invited the Congresswoman to be here tonight. Unfortunately, she's out of town, so she's not able to be here. She's actually spending some time with her son before he goes off to college. But I just wanted to let the delegation know the partnership that the Congresswoman has with the Indian community in Las Vegas. It's a very close relationship. In fact, so close that, sometimes you always remember your first time for whatever it was. I remember the first time that I went to Washington, D.C. It was when President Clinton was getting sworn in for the second time. And recently, Harry went to Washington, D.C. for the first time. And you always want it to be special. Well, we made it special for him because that was the day that the Prime Minister of India was addressing Congress. And Congresswoman Lee invited Harry to go to Washington, D.C., sit in the gallery, and be there in the same room as the Prime Minister as he gave his speech. That was something that we did. We whipped up within like a couple of days, actually.
Honored to represent the state of Nevada.
Yes, he was there to represent the state of Nevada, and so thank you for taking that trip. And it was his first trip, so what more special? How more special can it be that your first trip to Washington, D.C. to sit in the gallery and hear the president or the Prime Minister of India give his speech? But I also want to thank Chris and Bindi, and they're always available for any time that the Congresswoman wants to have a meeting or a roundtable with the Indian community. They open their doors here, and we have our roundtable meeting. And it's just everybody here in the Indian community. We're very close, and I just want to let you know how much the Congresswoman appreciates all your work that you do. She did just work on visitor visas, so that way people speed up the process so people can come here on visitor visas. As the Lieutenant Governor said, tourism is a really big deal for us here in Las Vegas, And some people are coming here on a visitor visa, but there are people coming here to work. You know, we have a whole Las Vegas Strip full of people who are in Cirque du Soleil or any of the other entertainment things that we have here, that they come from other countries. And so it's important to be able to have that that ability for them to come here and perform for our enjoyment. So thank you so much on behalf of Congresswoman Susie Lee. We are in Congressional District 3. You're sitting in her congressional district. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor too, and we go way back. He used to be a city councilman. I used to be a city councilwoman once upon a time in a different life. And we worked very closely together for, I don't know, 20 or so years, 25 years, 30 years. So it's just been really great. Rita, Sue, Vicky, Garima, it's a very close community here. And at any time we can get a hold of any one of us. Harry frequently texts me at 11 o'clock at night. And we just text each other and like 1 o'clock in the morning going, we should go to sleep now. So, but yeah, it's a very close community. They have very close ties with the congressional delegation, not just Congresswoman Lee, the entire congressional delegation, the United States senators, the governor. It doesn't take that much for Rita to just, give a call to Governor Lombardo, and he's right there. And you can see Lieutenant Governors here personally. So thank you so much for all you do. Sue, thanks for everything that you do too. Sue not only was she a TV anchor, but she's also been involved in a lot of charitable communities in our area, anywhere from helping people who are victims of domestic violence, and all kinds of things. So thank you for all the work that you've done also. So I appreciate you inviting me to be here on behalf of the Congresswoman, and I hope the delegation has a great, wonderful rest of your trip here. And it's very easy. If you need something, or if the Congresswoman needs to know something, please make sure that Harry and Rita know, so that way we can make sure that the Congresswoman knows and fix whatever it is that needs to be fixed. So thank you very much.
But I had the privilege of meeting a handful of very community involved and healthcare oriented in northern India that have made relationships and building relationship and collaborations with HRGC that's led by Harry and Rita in order to help with the nursing shortage in the state of Nevada. And those collaborations are in their very infancy right now. But I am very eager and super excited for what the future holds in store, knowing the people that are holding that weight in northern India. And I had the privilege of meet with women and men that were running nursing schools and hospitals, and I had the privilege to enjoy firsthand the hospitality that is really has no match anywhere else that I've traveled pretty much in many countries of the world. The hospitality was very rich, very different. It truly made me feel like I was a VIP, which I wasn't. But I wanted to salute you all for having a beautiful country, beautiful, very rich culture, and I look forward to go back and see some more. Because they worked me very hard. They kept us busy, like 12 hours a day, wanting to make sure that they understood and they had a great understanding of what our program is all about. And not only they learn about our program, but they really gave us information to reshape it and reorganize and give birth to a secondary program. So I'm pretty excited to see what the future is going to hold. Thank you for coming here, and I hope your trip to Las Vegas is very fruitful.
And I'd like to call on our attorney, Jim Jimerson, please.
Well, it's not like we're lacking of speakers tonight, right? I spoke to the director earlier tonight. From my impression and my wife's impression, and having had the opportunity to travel to different countries in the world, this is a matter of respect. When you look at the history and culture of India, you look at its colonization a couple hundred years ago, its severance from Great Britain, its own country, 1.4 billion people and soon to be the #3 economy in the world. That's power. That's accomplishment. That's something to feel really good about. And my congratulations to the delegation here this evening. You really acquitted yourself beautifully, and we're so happy that you joined us tonight. Thank you.
Many years ago, I actually I was one of many people that served on President Trump's foreign policy team. And in my portfolio was, I served as part of the US envoy in the early stages and negotiations for peace with the Taliban. And when we would do our meetings, we would either do it in Qatar, Jordan, or in Pakistan. Well, I was in Islamabad in February of 2019 when there was a terrorist attack in northern India, where there was a suicide bomber that killed 40 of our troops in India, right? And so I was in Islamabad, and when that happened, obviously essential staff, there was a process and procedure for them to get out, but as non-essential, we had to figure it out on our own. A friend of mine who I talked to said the safest place to get to very quickly is India, because it's right across the border. So it was my first trip to India, and what happened was, while I was in India, it was interesting to see what happened. I mean, it reminded me a lot of, for those that remember what happened here with the shooting on the Strip, that same kind of emotion was happening in India at the same time. So there was a lot of commonality. Well, so while I was in India, what you'll find was, when it comes to the U.S. foreign service folks, when they're not working, they're always just at the lobby of their hotel at the bar, you know, hanging out and talking. I like to get out a little bit. So when I was in Delhi, I would venture outside, met some folks with the government. I ended up in Mumbai. I ended up in Ahmedabad. So I was flying around meeting people. And, you know, the one thing that really stood out was, in conversations, I was told that it was a lot easier for, in a sense, an adversary of the U.S., foreign, to invest in the United States, but not an Indian national. And I thought there was a problem with that. And so what ended up happening was, the relationships between our two countries began to grow after February of 2019. If you recall, what ended up happening was, Prime Minister Modi came to Houston. The president came to visit him down there. A lot of that was stirred because, I don't know if you recall, but in the Suez Canal after February, the Iranians took a tanker, and a lot of eyes were on the United States on what the U.S. response would be to that. And Prime Minister Modi told the U.S. that India would take care of that. And so that's how the relationship actually started. And so Prime Minister Modi came to Houston. President Trump met him in Houston. And then subsequently after that, in early 2020, before the pandemic, President Trump went out to meet Prime Minister Modi in India. And so what I always tell people is that when you look at the history of the United States and these unique relationships, you see economies blossom. After World War II, we saw the United States and Japan. We saw 15, 20 years later, we saw the US and Germany. 10, 15, 20 years later, we saw US and Taiwan. 15, 20 years later, we saw US and China. And so the question is, what country will the US have a strong relationship with? And I believe it's going to be India. And everything is moving in that direction. Not only is India the largest population and the fastest growing economy, but India should be and is a true friend of the United States. I've always questioned post-World War II relations and how we aligned ourselves with Pakistan, when it's so much more natural to be partners with the largest and oldest democracy in the world, being India. And so I think that in the next 15, 20 years, I think we're going to see great prosperity between our two countries. I think that relationships between our countries are going to strengthen. And I'm excited that Nevada will be the state that will lead the way for the United States. And through the leadership of my boss and our other great leaders in our state, we look forward to furthering and continuing that trajectory of creating this strong relationship, again, starting here in Nevada, and it'll be great for the whole world. So welcome to the delegation. We're excited to have you here. And I just want to point one thing about my boss. When he first asked me to be his chief of staff back in January, obviously part of our portfolio is economic development in an international space. And when we talked about countries that we really wanted to target to focus our attention and engagement, his decision was India should be at the top of the list. And that was one reason why I wanted the job. So thanks to Lieutenant Governor for making India a top priority for our state. And again, welcome to the delegation. And of course, Harry and Rita, thank you for your friendship, because you guys are the glue between government at all levels and the community and with the country of India. So thank you all.
Chris Parikh, and on behalf of both of us, thank you all for being here. We're always happy to host anyone coming from India, especially the delegation. You've been coming every year. Our relationship with the consulate and the ministry, you're welcome here anytime. The Lieutenant Governor's office, GOED, all the Nevada officials, you're always welcome here, and this is home. So thank you again, and thank you, Harry, and thank you, Rita.
Also, the PhD Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
I mean, they've been here,
here.
I didn't know. So
here.
it's like, so thank you guys.
Yeah, we've
Thanks
seen
for coming.
you years ago, and welcome anytime.
Thank you so much for coming.